I missed you last week, buddy.
And I missed you, Clint.
Yeah,
It
the
was
holiday
Christmas
season.
time.
Holiday season. Did Travis get cold again in his stocking?
Well, we'll talk about that, but
Okay.
yeah, pretty much. It's all right.
The
Hey,
Razorbacks also played their final game, a bowl game.
yeah, the
It was a
Liberty Bowl.
hodgepodge versus a hodgepodge of hodgepodge.
Yeah, it brought some new players about. It brought some drama, all kinds of
Records
stuff.
were broken.
Records broken, man. It was all kinds of good stuff. So we got lots to talk about. We got 2 weeks worth, right?
Yeah, we got a lot.
Yeah. So hey, folks, welcome to Hog Slop. Like,
Big C.
share, comment, share a bunch.
Share a bunch. Subscribe.
Share.
Hit that subscribe button right now, friend.
Sharing is caring.
There you go.
It is. We're getting ready for 2025.
Last podcast of the year. I won't see Travis again until next year.
That's right. It's going to be a whole year,
Whole
man.
year.
We got to get this right. So, folks, welcome to Hog Slop 183. Go ahead and like, share, comment right now. Right now, just right now. Subscribe right now. We're over 100 subscribers. We need more than that.
Like
Get us on up there.
106, maybe. I don't know. Get crazy.
Yeah, get it crazy. Crazy. Y'all ready? How about some music? Here we go. Booyah.
1, 2, 3, 4. You ever seen a lame man walk? Ever heard a dumb man talk? Ever seen a blind man see? I promise you a change his name. You ever seen a cancer dead? Ever seen all the poor get fed? Ever seen a prisoner set free? I promise you a change his name. Love changes things. Love changes Can you hear me now? Church, can you hear me now? Ever seen a broken heart made whole? Ever seen an orphan find a home? Ever seen the weak find the strength? I promise you a change is thing. Ever seen the sick get healed? Ever seen a mystery revealed? Ever seen a death man raised? I promise you a change is thing.
What's up, everybody? What's happening? It's time for the Hog Slop. Welcome to the Slop House, baby, with your boys Big C and Bigger T. I'm Bigger T, joined as always by my man Big C. How you doing, Clint Clark?
You keep losing that weight. We'll change to the Big C, Big T podcast. That's what we'll do.
Well,
I'm
you
going to
know,
have to.
when you're fat, you don't notice the weight quite as much. Like I notice it, but maybe other people don't notice it. But like I went and watched when we had Cam Ball on, I went and watched our first interview with him, which was like 3 years ago.
Right.
And that was about the time I was starting to make some changes. And that was about 170, 180 pounds ago. And
That's awesome.
just looking at my face and shoulders and stuff, I'm like, your boy looks a little different
There
than
you go.
that.
No, that's awesome.
But that's cool. So yeah. But yeah, man, Clint, how was Christmas?
Christmas was great. Me and the wife, we made an agreement. We made an agreement, and one I think one of our childhood memories has always bonded us was the time that Bob told Kim, Bob Stubbs, Travis's yoga director, told
Yeah.
Kim, or Kim told Bob, "Don't worry about it. This is my Christmas. Don't get anything." And Bob took her in her one.
Yeah, which
Uh,
is like rule like look, I'm never been married and I know better.
right.
Okay, like
Well,
you
you
know,
gotta give them something.
yeah.
That's why. So yeah, Bob ended up making an emergency trip to Conway, and I was stuck there with Kim. And in a word, it was terrifying.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
so, but me and the wife, we agreed like, hey, we're going to get each other a gift, but we're going to get each other this. And we're going to see if we can get the other one the more clever gift.
Mhm.
So we agreed to get each other a coffee mug trap.
Wow, nice.
So So she got me one that said, of all the weird things I've found on the internet, you are my favorite.
Oh,
Um,
nice.
yeah, heart. The guy even's got a bald spot on his head.
Oh man, see that's
So yeah, it
lovely.
was the attention to detail.
Yeah, yeah. You married up for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I got her one that says "World's Sexiest Fart." So, so that was her Christmas gift of
Like,
choice.
like if I was designing the gifts that y'all would get each other, like I
Right.
would probably the think tank would come to those gifts, right? Like that.
Yeah.
That's
Like I loved it because hers is well thought out and personal. I was like,
and
"World's
yours is like,
Sexiest
what
Fart."
makes me laugh? It's so good. If that doesn't describe y'all's
Yeah,
personalities and your relationship, I don't know what
yeah,
does.
there you go. Yeah, hers it was
Well,
very well thought out, beautiful.
well, I'm blessed because Clint, my mother still believes in Santa Claus.
Okay.
Still does. And so I get presents from Santa, right? And my mom also sometimes forgets that I'm a grown up.
That you're 48 years old.
Yeah, she forgets that fact.
Yeah.
Like in her mind, in many more ways than one. Okay, more ways than one. I'm still 8 years old. Okay,
I'm,
so
I'm, I'm just in anticipation to hear what this
so
gift is. I'm fired up. I cannot
yeah,
wait.
and
I'm on pins and needles here.
and my mom's on a fixed income, so I really don't expect anything from her. She asks me what I want, and I tell her, look, mom, I don't need anything.
Right. Yeah.
You know how it is. You get older, and kind of like what you and Anna are like. You're probably like, hey, if you want something, you just get it, right? When you get to be an
Right. Yeah.
adult, you have a job, you're not broke all the time. You just, there's not, you don't necessarily have to. So I just told her, I said, Mom, just give me whatever. I don't care. And of course, I got her a couple things, but I said, I go to visit her and she gives me the deal. She has a couple of packages for me. And she goes, the first one I open is an etch a sketch. Yep, I got an etch a sketch. Yeah, we have cell phones now that you can get the whiteboard app and draw whatever you want to on it. But Clint, I have an etch a sketch.
Okay. Okay. How much have you played with it? Don't lie.
Not much yet, but I'm going to. I promise you.
Okay.
In
Yeah.
fact, I'm thinking about it's going to go to school with me and it's going to sit on my desk and I'm going to play with it. But then the other one is kind of a tradition thing. Like my mom got me one just for funsies, like years and years ago.
Right.
I took this thing to my office at the church and like the kids that would come in would play with it. And I wanted to encourage my mom and I told her how much the kids loved it. And what I would always do was end up giving it to one of the kids in the church usually or something. She got me a Mr. Potato Head,
Okay.
which by the way, folks, is one of the most clever toys ever. You know why, Clint?
What is that?
Which I think Mr. Potato Head should go on the show alone. Here's why. Because he can put everything he owns in his handy dandy butt hatch. Right? Like, come on, Clint. That's that's
He
handy
jumped
dandy.
the shark. No,
That's,
I
that's
see what,
handy
no, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
dandy.
But they
No.
wouldn't let him just, they would
Yeah.
check his butt hatch before he went on the show, Travis.
When you're adults, that gets a
Gabe,
little weirder, but yeah.
Gabe did say one of his favorite things ever that I cracked him up. And first time you told me about the show alone, when I went, Kim, one of my emergencies, I will be a cooler full of Lunchables.
Yeah.
And
Yeah. See?
like he just stuffed Lunchables up in there.
See, Mr. Potato Head could put some Lunchables. Yeah.
Here you
He
go.
could take out one of those. He could take out the mustache
Yep, there.
and put in some Lunchables. So anyway,
Well,
that was my fun.
no,
gift.
that
Yeah, I
is
got
great. I'm happy. At what age would you feel like you were too old to get an Ecta sketch?
Etch a
You
sketch.
can't say 49.
Dude, with my mom, I'm gonna be getting that kind of stuff. That's just
Yeah, no,
expected.
Miss Betty's one of the sweetest
That's just the
women.
way she is.
Yeah.
She still stays up and watches the radar on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
you know.
No,
So,
that's fine.
which have you seen? We may talk about what you're watching later, but have you seen the new movie Red One?
I have not. I have not.
You need to watch it. Like
Pretty good.
it's a pretty good Christmas movie. And now for those of you if you got little kids, okay, it does have some bad language in it. So if you're like don't because it's about Santa Claus if you got little kids watching, but if you your older kids and everybody, it's an action packed Santa Claus. Rock is kind of like the Secret Service for Santa Claus, okay? And but one of the best things about it, Clint, if I was a kid and believing in Santa Claus, like I would be like, that's how he does it. Because they do some creative things when they show Santa doing
Oh,
his thing, okay? And you're
right.
like, well, that's his magic right there,
That's
man.
oh no. Oh, that okay. That
Like I
track.
would be like, because I was okay. I'll be honest with you. Like I believed in Santa Claus to like sixth grade, like until right before I moved to Clinton to Greenbrier.
Right. I know. I know.
I was
Yeah.
still arguing with my friends. Okay,
Right. Yeah.
and one of the reasons was is my parents had a guy come to my house one time. And it was actually my great uncle, but I didn't know him very well. Like it was like the first time he'd ever visited. But they had him show up at my house dressed up as Santa Claus on Christmas Eve and bring me a bag full of gifts. Okay. And so that was and I had pictures with him. I'm like, okay, look, I had Santa Claus show up at daycare, but y'all, I got one that showed up at my house.
Right. Yeah. This wasn't. Yeah. This was.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, I
This
mean, like
wasn't lost man.
I was a believer till late. Okay. And so, um, so I would have been that kid if I saw Red One, I would be like, that's it.
Hell, they did.
The Rock's showing us his secrets. So
So
anyway, it's a good
yeah.
movie. It's got Chris Evans.
Yeah.
Good movie, worth the watch.
Now I did something over Christmas because we closed early on Christmas Eve. I had Christmas off, and then I had the day after Christmas off.
Mhm.
So I had like all day Christmas with literally nothing to do. Um, so I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Christmas movie. So um, I, it's been since I was a teenager in high school since I've seen Die Hard. So
Oh
and I am 48 years old. So it has been 30 years plus
man, about time.
that I said. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna watch Die Hard because I hear arguments all back and forth that it's a Christmas movie. And so I'm gonna settle it. It is it. I would say I'm gonna cheat and say it's Christmas movie adjacent because Christmas is a backdrop for the movie. I would not call it a movie where Christmas is a character, more as a backdrop. So I would say Christmas adjacent. I would not call it a full fledged Christmas movie. I know you disagree with
I
me,
think it's a Christmas movie,
but
but
it was
hey, but
it's unrealistic nowadays with cell phones. There's so many movies now that are just so unrealistic. You
yeah,
can't go back. I was watching one the other day, and I'm like, yeah, this not without cell phones. You couldn't cell phones now. You couldn't get away with
yeah.
stuff.
Well, Andy Samberg's character on Brooklyn Nine-Nine, he's a huge
Oh yeah,
diehard fan. Like, and he references to Die Hard all through it. And so I've probably learned more about Die Hard just from watching that show here
yeah.
lately than watching it the movie back.
Good
But I used
show.
to love it back in the day. Well, Clint, and another thing about my Christmases too, this is kind of weird, but all these holidays, Clint, I haven't had regular holiday food. For my
Okay.
for Thanksgiving, my family decided we didn't want to cook anything, so we went out to eat at a Chinese place for Thanksgiving. Okay. Well, this year for my Johnson side of the family, we always do something different because most of that family with their regular families do the traditional Christmas stuff. So they've always said, "Hey, let's do something different." So we like for several years we did barbecue. The last few years we do tacos for life. Be like a taco bar. And so we get chicken and steak and beef and
Yeah.
make your own tacos or nachos or whatever you want to do. Well, then my little cousin hosted us for this year for Christmas, and she decided she wanted to do a taco bar. So I had two taco bars for Christmas this year. So I
Hey
went,
man, I
I
did
loved it. That's one of my favorite things.
you know what I did? I'm this is the second holiday in a row with Thanksgiving. I was talking about my smoked turkey breast.
Mm,
I did a pulled ham.
yeah. I saw
Smoked
you said something about that. Yeah.
smoked it for 17 hours.
Oh, wow.
Yep. I was like, ooh. So yeah.
Good stuff.
So, yeah, it turned out very, very, very good. Very, very good.
We had a guy cook for a church event one time. He smoked a ham and then he cut it. He just like, he didn't really pull it. He just chopped it up and made like sandwiches out of it with like, put barbecue sauce on the ham
yeah.
and then served like sandwiches. And it was really good. It's the first time I'd ever had it like that. Oh, but anyway, yeah, that sounds good, man.
Similar concept for sure.
Well, speaking of barbecue, um, the Razorbacks went to Memphis, went to walking in Memphis, walking with their feet 10 feet off a bill, and came back with a W, man.
They did. Trey Biddy, I think it is all gonna put it best where like no one wants to give him credit for it, but they sure would have complained if we'd have lost.
Oh yeah.
They sure would have complained when they lost. But it was two makeshift units going against another makeshift unit.
Yeah.
A&M. This is the best who they had left. This is the best
Texas
who we had
Tech.
left. I do think or did I say Texas Tech? Who did I say?
You said A&M. That's all right. Yeah.
Tech. Sorry.
Sounds like something I'd say.
Yeah, 100%. People are that's a stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Coronation. But no, I mean the difference was that we had our quarterback and they did it.
Yeah.
I thought that freshman played well. He definitely got some arm talent. But there's time
He's a gamer.
Yeah, yeah. Time he played like freshman too.
He was pulling out there, blocking. He was.
Yeah, Arkansas had their secondary was, it was
Terrible.
terrible. I mean, it's terrible. Yeah, it was terrible. Hudson Clark was probably your star back there. I thought Hudson played great. I thought the linebackers played great. I thought Cam Ball played maybe his best game as a Razorback.
He did. I watched him a lot because we were hoping for a healthy sack.
Yeah,
and,
for the Robert Branson Healthy Sack Challenge.
That's right. We were hoping that Robert was going to be sending him $100, but we didn't see that. But was it just me, Clint? It wasn't just me. You saw it too, I know. Did we forget how to tackle low?
Boy,
like we were grabbing them at their shoulder pads. It seemed like the defensive backs, especially.
No, I really the tackling by the defensive backs throughout the game was atrocious.
Yeah,
it was atrocious. I ain't gonna make fun of the tackling because Xavier Story Jr. is a freaking man.
Oh no, he did. Yeah, the linebackers.
That dude is all over the place.
The linebackers did great.
The linebackers did great. I thought the defensive line played
defensive
well.
line. Junkaj had a great game.
Great.
In fact, I hope he comes back. With that new JUCO rule.
Yeah.
He's got a chance to come back for another year, and if he comes back and stays healthy, he's got a chance to. Because
that's what Pittman said. You don't realize how good that dude is. He just was not healthy all year.
Yeah.
That
could be your Landon Jackson replacement right there.
Yeah, well, you don't have him and Quincy Rhodes. I mean, that's
bookends right there.
Yeah, that's bookends, and then you've got you got Cam, and they've got a lot of young guys that they're happy with, but the secondary, they had their moments. They got 2 picks. So and then they should have had 3. Singletary had that one go right through his hands that got snatched from him. That was a good play. That kind of thing it's just gonna happen from time.
Yeah, that was one of those that you wish he could have held on to it, but that guy had better leverage to keep it,
Yeah, and
because Singletary had it up here above his head like this, and that guy was pulling,
yeah,
and so he had more strength. Like it was
yeah.
just going to be easier for him to pull it away from him.
Well, and he couldn't see. I mean, retrospectively, he should have swatted it, but
Yeah. Well, he was
hey,
trying to catch it. He
he was
thought he had an
trying.
interception.
Yeah, so that was a good play by him. The tackling just looked.
That was terrible.
It was some terrible
Now, I
tackling.
will tell you, thankfully, now they got some big plays out of it, but one thing we saw is they at least played with effort, and they've
Yeah,
played with effort all year. Okay. So good on Travis Williams and Woodson, the defensive back coach. The defensive backs have played with good effort. So they at least swarm to the ball. So even though a guy would miss a tackle, there would be guys there, linebackers, defensive backs there to help. Okay. So a lot, some of the times they were able to get them down, but I just kept seeing it, man. They were just kept going at their shoulder pads to tackle them. And I'm like, are you kidding me? Go for them. But I think Arkansas gave us what we were asking them to do. Okay. They came out with great effort. We did it with some young guys. Okay. The Edmondson and Branham both, and Blackstock had a decent game too. Okay. I mean, he was back at left guard, and now the offensive line only gave up one sack. Now, some of that was Taylor Green was doing better. Okay. Um, but they did their job. We got to see some
yeah.
receivers. How about James? Holy cow, dude. That guy's fast.
Right. You know what was funny? I left work a little bit early, and I was and I was listening to Chuck, and Chuck was like, um, and and Chuck was like, they've been raving about Desmond James and blah blah blah,
Mhm.
and I'm like, okay, whatever, okay, maybe he's good. You don't put much thought into it.
Mhm.
You're like, well, hopefully he can hit Tesla. Tesla had a fantastic game.
Tesla did great. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Tesla did great. And then you're like, okay, somebody's going to step up. And then what do we do? Very first catch, longest
94.
touchdown pass in Razorback football history. Is that correct, Travis?
Yes. For
And
Liberty
then
Bowl history, Razorback history,
yeah,
everything.
94 yards. Is that correct?
Mhm.
Very first catch. And guys, I'm going to say something else that's controversial. Andre Ware is one of the best color commentators in college football. There, I've said it. Um,
And here's the deal, Clint. There's some people that are going to complain about every announcer we have if they
right.
don't say Arkansas is the greatest thing I've ever seen every time they open their mouth. If they say one thing about somebody not doing well or something, they're oh look at that guy hates Arkansas. Come on. I thought Andre Ware did a great job. He had the connection with the old Southwest Conference stuff, so he was able to speak on that kind of stuff. So he unlike some of those guys that come in there and all they know is what the media guide tells them. He had some history. Okay, he's played in War Memorial. Okay, he had that big shootout game with Quinn Grovey there. He's done these things. So
You
I
know,
I thought he did a good job.
I think he does a good job. Just period in general. I mean, he's been
Yeah,
around. I mean, he's been around forever. I did like when they talked about Arkansas being on pace to break their record. He's just like, good luck.
yeah, 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 yeah.
He goes, no, I don't want him to break it, but good
Yeah, he
luck.
was honest. Yeah. And that's the way most people are about those records. That's
Yeah,
why
he's
Miami
like,
Dolphins do their whole thing every year with
yeah,
so,
but he just, no, I got a kick out of him, and him talking about like, yeah, he's a world class. Now that one Texas Tech defender had a very, very good angle
yeah,
on him, and he still outran him.
yeah,
Anybody else would have got caught.
yeah. And
Um,
I'll tell you someone else, Clint. One thing that frustrated me was when CJ Brown, they got the coaches and everybody got all that hate when he made that fumble against Texas. Okay. And everybody's like, you can't throw to him, even like Trey Biddy and some of those people. You just can't throw to him in that situation. You just can't throw to him. Look, if it would have worked, it would have been the greatest decision ever because they wasn't expecting it to go to him, right? In that play. And he showed in that bowl game why they didn't mind throwing to him in that situation. Because he made some catches and ran with the ball well after the catch in this Liberty Bowl game. And yes, that stinks that his first catch as a hog was that, okay?
Yeah.
But that happens, okay? That's part of football. He was in there because was it Satanga was out injured or something like that,
Yep.
and so he was in for him in that game. We saw in the Liberty Bowl. Look, what I saw from him in that Liberty Bowl, I'm thinking that guy needs more balls thrown to him because he
No,
he caught the
for
ball
sure.
well, he ran with the ball well. Yes, I wish he would have tucked it away against Texas. If he was a more experienced guy, would he have tucked it away better and not fumbled? Probably. But still, man, I was so glad to see him have a make some good catches and some good plays in that game.
No, I was too. I thought you felt good about the weapons they had in the receiving court. I mean, having him come back, having James come back, they were both true freshmen, I believe.
I think James is a redshirt freshman, but yeah,
Okay, yeah. I mean, either way, I
yeah.
mean, they're both young
Oh yeah,
guys.
for sure.
You
And
add
James is what 6'1", 6'2", and a speed guy.
well, you're adding Crutchfield back next. I mean, in next year, and Omega Blake,
And Mega Blake,
and then the two other guys. So you've got a good 7-8
and
deep there.
Brown's 6 foot. He's a decent sized kid too. He's got some
Yeah.
thickness to him. So you feel better about. I'll put it this way. One of the things I was worried about in the portal was two of our guys are 5'8" and 5'9". Okay, they were coming back with in the portal, and yeah, they're talented guys. Okay, one of them's going to know the offense already. Having played at Missouri State. One of them's led the nation in kick returning. So I'm glad we got them. But you're still wondering, okay, we went from having a front line of 6'4" Tesla, 6'5" Armstrong, 6'6" Broden, you know, and then Haas 6'4", whatever, So you had that to now you're looking at if those guys step into a starting role, those shorter guys, you're like, okay, that's a little different. But you got some of these, Crutchfield's 6 foot and sounds, he's supposed to be a versatile guy. You got James who's 6'2". You got, so you're decent size. You're still going to have some decent sized guys. You're going to have a couple guys you can, throw it up to, James is athletic. You could probably throw it up to him on a jump ball, stuff like that. So you still got some, I feel better about that. But here's the thing. I like what I saw from Arkansas. Okay. We did what we wanted them to do. They went in, they won it handily. Okay. I mean, not handily,
Yeah,
but
it never felt like it was in doubt. There was
yeah,
never
it was, yeah,
oh crap.
yeah.
The feeling of impending doom that every Razorback fan gets.
But here's our back to earth thing. Okay. Here's our back to earth thing.
There's always got to be one of you guys.
I got to bring it back to earth. Okay. That defense was 124 out of 130 something in the nation before they lost their defensive coordinator and they lost some of their players to the portal. Okay. They were a bad pass defense. There may have been one of the worst pass defenses besides UAPB we played all year. Okay. Second, although their quarterback was serviceable, it was a freshman quarterback. And we've done well against freshman quarterbacks and we've struggled against others. Okay. So let's bring that back to reality. Okay. We got what we saw. It was it's what the bowls are. It was a good game to let some other players step up, other players get in. We were playing with some guys that hadn't played all year, stuff like that. I'll tell you my only disappointment and struggle I saw from a player that I still think, man, we got to work on that is Green really struggles with those run option reads.
You know,
There were several times he held it too long. There were several times he gave it and should have kept it, or kept it and should have gave it.
no, but I think what I do like is that the coaching staff's coming back home.
Yep.
You know, yeah, there's fans that want Pittman gone, and you're going to be unhappy no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Um, but it is what it is. He's coming back next year, so like him or not, he's going to be back.
Yeah.
And the man's 63, he's going to be 64 years old, and has got a multi-million dollar buyout. He's going to be okay no matter what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and got an extra 250 for winning that game.
right. So yeah, the man's good. But to have another year under Bobby Petrino, and they're coming in, and you're playing for the coaches, the same coaches, the terminology, everything's going to be the same. It's going to be, I mean, for guys like Taylor's going to be invaluable.
And Taylor Green's the type of talent that he's going to win some games just because we got him. And him having another year under Petrino. Because, yeah, you know what? There's going to be times he's going to make mistakes. Every quarterback makes mistakes.
Right. Yeah.
There's going to be times he makes mistakes, but he's going to be able to make up for them, unlike some players are able to, because he's such a weapon with his feet.
Now, Travis, it wasn't all sunshine and rainbows. We do have to cover the incident of a friend of the program.
Yeah.
Fernando Carmona had a less than wise moment.
It went viral, man. Went viral, that video.
Stomped on an ankle. It kind of looked it looked you could, if you wanted to argue one way or the other, like it was an accident, he stomped on it, you could have argued your point. To Carmona's credit, he owned it, has apologized for it, that he'll learn from it and do better. I think hopefully we can file this under no harm, no foul, but it wasn't a good look.
Yeah.
He knows it wasn't a good look. But me and you also, you described him before we had him on the program as Dan Skipper, heated. That when you deal with a guy like that with an edge to him, this kind of thing happens. Learn from it, do better, and I think that's what he'll do, Travis.
Well, and that's exactly right, Clint. When we had him on, well, first of all, and here's the deal, folks. We're coming at this not just somebody who's watching a video and watched the guy. We spent like an hour and a half talking to this guy. Okay. Just us three on computer like that, and wasn't in a room with him. But when you spend an hour and a half talking to somebody, you feel like you get to know him a little bit. Okay. And he's a good guy. Okay. I'm going to tell you that. Right, Clint? You agree?
Oh, yeah, great guy.
We're big fans of him, not just as a football player. He's a good guy. And before we had him on here, I watched a lot of as many highlights as I could of him playing in high school, of him playing in college. And I said on here that he's going to play with an edge. Okay, just like Clint said, kind of like Dan Skipper or Sebastian Tretola. Okay. Now, what happens with guys like that is they play with a passion. They're the guys that we want on a team most of the time because they have that dog in them. They're going to block a guy until the whistle ends. Every time. They're going to want to bury the guy they're blocking. The problem is they play with passion. They play with emotion. And he said in his statement, he said, I let emotion get to me. As a young man, he's going to have to learn to control that emotion. You want to play with that passion. You want to play with that dog in you. That's what we want from guys like that. But he's got to know when to stop it. And this will be one of the greatest lessons he ever gets in learning that. And he's going to know, and he's going to have coaches tell him, you got to still play with that passion. Just like Skipper learned in that, was it the A&M game where he got that tripping penalty?
He got the tripping call behind the play.
That was that was similar. Okay. He wanted to get that block so bad and he wanted to beat that guy so bad and get that touchdown so bad. He stuck his leg out and did that. Okay. Now, you want him to want that play to have work so bad, but you don't want him to get you in trouble. And I said, and that's what I said. I said, there's going to be times where we're going to be frustrated with him because he's going to get us some penalties. Okay. And he did it earlier in the game when he bumped that guy on the sideline. You know, he got that unsportsmanlike penalty. Okay. But that was no big deal. That was nothing.
I mean, you get it, but you're like, come on, dude.
Yeah. And that was,
I didn't think that deserved a penalty. I think
I didn't either.
Dude, knock it off.
Yeah.
But he may have already got the dude knock it off.
There may have been a warning already, but I'm with you. That probably should have just been a warning. But
if there wasn't a warning before that, that should have been a warning.
The guy has proven he's all hog. His whole family's all hog, man. If you watch his podcast, the Pin and Pull podcast, his brother, their family loves Arkansas. They're Arkansas through and through. He's still a hog, I have no doubt, because he loves Arkansas. So fans, look, did he make a mistake? Yeah, he's admitted to it. Okay. He said he's sorry. And we're not okay with him making that mistake. We don't like it. I wish he hadn't have done it. He wishes he hadn't have done it. But all we can do is support him in going forward. And because he's our left tackle, unless they move him to guard, which could happen. But he's all SEC.
Yeah.
He's one of our best players. He's a leader on the team. And you know what? People make mistakes in life. But all we can ask for him to learn from it.
Yeah. Speaking of people make mistakes.
Yeah.
You know, and we're all screaming about the playoffs, how they need to be reseeded.
Well, can I say one more thing about the Liberty Bowl real quick?
Go ahead.
Because we were going to talk about who our players of the game was. Okay. And I think we agree. It's
coaching staff. Yeah. I mean, they listen, Pittman is undefeated in bowl games. You can never say his team is not showing up ready to play.
Yeah.
When Pittman's got a team ready to play, you can never question their effort. And they've not showed at the bowl games, and there's teams that show at the bowl games. You're like, well, why are they even here?
Yeah.
They showed up, they played. Go ahead, Travis.
Well, and I wanted to echo that. One of the things I've said about Pittman, we're pro Pittman on here, and we like the guy. We wish we win more games, all that kind of stuff. But my critique has been there's something in his leadership that has caused them to have games where they have it, like the Oklahoma State game where they didn't finish well, like the Ole Miss game. But there's something in his leadership that gets him ready for bowl games. Okay. And this team did. But I'll tell you one of the things that most people may not have noticed, but as a guy who deals with something similar, I noticed, was he stood on that sideline with that cane, and he was in pain that whole game.
Oh, 100%.
If you looked at him in the face, and especially watch the video, there's a video of him after the game going over to the sideline and sitting on the bench, and the relief in his face when he gets to sit down. Clint, I walk with a cane. I have hip pain. I have hip pain right now sitting down doing this podcast. Okay. I have nonstop hip pain every day. Even with losing weight, I'm still dealing with this pain. Okay. Now it may be different than his. He just had that surgery. So his is probably even worse than mine. Okay. Yeah. But I can tell you, I saw in his face something that I know has been on my face many times. He was in pain. And yet he was still out there encouraging those players. He showed a lot of guts by getting out there and standing on that sideline. And I know he hated standing there with that cane in his hand. I can't stand walking out the house with mine in my hand. Okay. But I know he didn't like doing that, but he knew that was the only way he was going to be able to do that. And he was in pain that whole time. And so I want to give him his flowers for that.
No, for sure. If I was him, I'd have been calling it in the booth
Oh yeah.
He
Or
loved
at
it.
least had some kind of stool over there
Yeah,
to where I could go and
I
sit
would have
down
like
there
a
and I would
stand
have
out
a
there in a jazzy.
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Or I'd have some. You remember a friend of mine actually from Camden used to be the guy that followed Houston Nutt around with the back when they didn't have the wireless
Oh
headsets
yeah,
where and he would carry around the cord. He was the guy, the cord guy that would follow Houston Nutt around, and so everywhere he'd go, he'd like give him more slack or less slack or whatever.
yeah, that,
Well, he needed someone like that with a stool. Like just
yeah.
like he's like, okay, I'm
Got
gonna sit
get
down.
you some red shirt freshman linemen to just carry you around and like
Yeah,
the Badgers of
yeah,
it.
that's right.
Well, one thing I wanted to talk about, Travis, and obviously Libro was awesome, was that you could almost, as we talk about holy snacking on the week, there's going to be a 14 win team in the NFL lose their division.
Yeah,
14. I mean, Detroit, they had no reason, they had nothing to play for last, nothing, and they're like Dan Campbell's going to play,
yeah,
and Dan Campbell's like, yeah, we're playing the football game,
yeah.
we're going out there to win. We're not.
I love it.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, he goes, no, we're going to go out there. We're going to be Detroit. So one of these two teams is going to be the number one seed, and the other one's going to have the second best record in the league.
And that's Minnesota and Detroit.
Yeah, Minnesota and Detroit. But that's not what I want to talk about, Travis. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I hope either one of those teams make the Super Bowl. I will be happy to see Jared Goff or Sam Darnold make the Super Bowl and probably lose to Patrick Mahomes. And I'm not a Kansas City fan, but that's probably what's going to happen.
I'm rooting for Detroit, but yeah.
I am too, because I love me some Dan Campbell.
Yeah.
I
You got three former Razorbacks on the team.
Well, I think culture guys are underrated.
Yeah.
I really do. And I think Dan Campbell is the ultimate culture guy.
For sure.
But anyway, what I'm talking about is, are they, because I'm looking at the playoff teams, and the number one seed is going to be Detroit, and the Los Angeles Rams went here. This is the guy keeping us from winning the Super Bowl. We're going to give you all these picks, give us your quarterback, and we're going to just throw Jared Goff in for free. They gave up on him.
Yeah.
Then the number two seed is Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is obviously, and then you got Baker Mayfield on there. You know a little bit about Baker Mayfield, don't you?
I know a little bit about him. Yeah.
Baker Mayfield has had a career resurrection in Tampa. And it's hard following Tom Brady, even Tom Brady was just like Twilight Tom Brady. And then you got Sam Darnold, who he's actually won more games for the Minnesota Vikings than he's won for the New York Jets. The New York Jets had him 4 years. Travis, are they giving up on quarterbacks too fast in the NFL? We've become such a listen. They were ready to write Bryce Young off last year.
Yeah.
I mean, they were like, this kid's done. He's washed. We made a colossal mistake by drafting like 1 year. It used to be you'd come in and you'd sit for a couple years to learn and get to learn behind a veteran.
Yeah.
Kind of what like the Packers have been able to do. I mean, go ahead, Trav.
Well, there's already people doing that with Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
There's already people wanting to get rid of him and think he's a bust. Stupid. It's stupid. Now, could he be a bust? We'll see. But you're right. And I agree with you. They give up on him too quick. But Clint, it all starts with the ownership. It all starts with the ownership. Okay. And look, I'm a Cleveland Browns fan. So I've had lots of time to analyze this. Okay. And I've had lots of failed quarterbacks to analyze.
Right. Yeah.
Okay. Look at how Colt McCoy did after he left the Browns. Now, he never was a full-time starter anywhere else, but he helped a lot of teams win a lot of games.
He's made a living playing pro football.
And if you would have surrounded him with the right coach, with the right coordinators, and the right offense to fit him, instead of what happens in the NFL so many times, and this is the genius of Bill Belichick. Bill Belichick tailored what he did around the players he had. That's what Josh McDaniel did. Now, Josh McDaniel never did, as an offensive coordinator, he worked well, okay, but he didn't as a head coach. But you remember when Josh McDaniel was at Denver, okay, and he drafted Tim Tebow. Well, he got down to where he had to play Tim Tebow toward the end of the year. And what did he do? He changed his offense to fit Tim Tebow. He didn't do it the way he did it for everybody else. He changed it to fit Tim Tebow, and they made it to the playoffs with Tim Tebow. Now, after that, McDaniels, they got rid of Tebow, whatever. But so many times, Clint, you're exactly right. They give up. That's what happened to Baker, okay? Baker's a great example. They get Baker in. They have the right general manager, gets him the right talent around him. They're running. Freddie Kitchens wasn't a good head coach, was not a good head coach, but he ran the right kind of offense for Baker when they first got him, okay? And he did good, the first couple years, right?
Yeah, I thought they made a mistake whenever they just didn't promote Greg Williams after his interim term.
Yeah.
I thought he did a great job as interim head coach.
You're right. Well, and he just had that. He had that deal in New Orleans that was going to make it hard to make him a head coach. Yeah. But yeah, I agree with you. But then what they did was then the ownership decided, hey, let's switch to an analytic style. Okay, Dorsey, who had built Kansas City up, switches to the guy that built Philly up. Both systems can work if you got the right kind of players, right?
Yeah.
But they switch and they get the guy from Philly, I forget his name, he's the GM now, but he's an analytic style, right? He brings in a coach that runs a different style offense. Stefanski. Stefanski got coach of the year when Joe Flacco was his quarterback. Okay. Because Joe Flacco was the type of quarterback he needed. He needed a quarterback like Joe Flacco, like Kurt Warner.
Yeah.
A guy that runs those deep routes, that does, doesn't do the quick hitting stuff, does play action. He's a Troy Aikman type, the guy, he doesn't matter if he's a statue, just someone with a strong arm, right? That wasn't the type of guy Baker was. So instead of him switching his offense to fit the quarterback, he tries to get the quarterback to fit the system. Then the Browns get rid of Baker and bring in Deshaun Watson, who's the same type of quarterback as Baker as far as the type of offense he needs to run.
Yeah, and Baker didn't have the baggage that he has.
Exactly.
And yeah, well, it is hard because they look at a lot of these guys and say, okay, you're the problem. We're done with you. And then there's so many. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to bring up Geno Smith, for example.
Yeah. Great example.
Geno, he was been a serviceable NFL quarterback, and he finally gets an opportunity with a decent team. And, he's a top tier. He's a Pro Bowl quarterback. He was in the Pro Bowl last year, and they're not going to make the playoffs this year. They're 500 football team. I think what you've seen with Minnesota is they're paying. I saw something earlier that said it was a wise move by the Vikings to pay Sam Darnold $10 million instead of paying Kirk Cousins $180 million.
Yeah.
Just
and O'Connell's a good coach and a good coordinator, and they're tailoring the offense around him, letting him do the things he does well, keeping him away from the things he doesn't do well. And he's having a great year. That's the same way with what they do with Goff. Yeah. There's things that Goff does well that he doesn't do well. Yeah. And look, like I said, bad ownership. Okay. The Jets have proven they got Mr. Johnson and Johnson.
So I heard this. I read it on Facebook.
It's true.
So it's true. So I'm
I know what you're about to talk about.
About Woody Johnson vetoing a trade.
because
Because the guy's Madden rating wasn't high enough.
his son told him what his Madden rating was. He told him what the player's Madden rating was, and he said, "Oh, he's not high enough." And so because apparently he lets his sons. He's got two sons, I think, that
Yeah.
are in the locker room all the time and like are part of his advising team or whatever, and they're advising him off of Madden ratings.
Well,
Is
I
that
mean,
that tells me bad
makes
ownership?
sense. Makes sense.
Bad ownership.
Yeah,
What's going on with Dallas? Bad ownership.
yeah. I mean, Jerry, the game GM has passed you by, buddy. It's time to let that one go. Um,
And a lot of being a good owner is putting the right people in place and letting them do. Bob Kraft isn't a football genius, but Bob Kraft hired some football geniuses and Lombardi and Belichick and let them run the show.
I mean, look what they're doing in Kansas City. Clark Hunt's not a football genius.
No, he's not at all.
No, he's
But
not.
he hired people. He had Dorsey in there at first. He helped build things up, then brought other people in. I don't know who the GM is now, but and then and let Andy Reid.
Well,
Andy
Andy
Reid had
Reid's
been around the
sharp.
league. Yeah,
Andy Reid says what comes and goes out of that
yeah,
locker
and it's similar with Belichick, but yeah,
Yeah. No, but it's been I just think too often we've focused too much on I mean we if they don't produce right away, like even Mahomes.
Mhm.
Mahomes got a year to learn.
Yep,
The speed of the game so different. I mean, with Bryce Young, we're saying this kid's a bust. He probably should have been carrying a clipboard, not a team last year. Learning, there's something about going out there and sitting behind. I think the experience of sitting behind Andy Dalton for a few games this year probably did him some good because he got to see how Andy
yeah.
Dalton carried himself as a starting NFL quarterback.
Well, and look at a great example. Look at Andy Reid. Now, Alex Smith was a similar type of player to Mahomes, as far as he's an athletic guy, ran pretty a similar type of offense, right?
Right. Yeah.
But Andy Reid also helped train up Mahomes better. Okay. And also but he tailors the offense around Mahomes. There's several times that there's plays that they run, especially some of these like funny trick plays they do. Like, do you remember the ring around the rosy one and
Oh, yeah.
the and stuff like that? That's some of that stuff is stuff Mahomes is, and some of them have come up with in practice. And Andy Reid's like, that's a good idea. Let's do that. Okay. That that is good coaching, man. I mean,
Well,
that's
and
do
you looked at the game last night with Detroit. They run a hook and ladder
yeah,
in a game that means nothing, and they say, "Yeah, we put these plays in on Wednesday because it gets the guys fired up."
yeah.
That's when we put the trick play in here and there, and it went for six. So you can see where the team would be excited.
Well, and that's what's great. When these are adult men that have been playing football their whole life, and you see them get excited about plays like that, I mean, that's what you want. That
Yeah.
keeps them excited about football.
So Travis, I know you said you're pulling for Detroit.
Yeah.
So Travis got to bet at $5 on it. Who's Travis betting on?
Man, it's hard. I think Kansas City's really motivated to win that third one though.
Oh, I agree, but I
They're
mean,
want they're wanting to do
Detroit,
something.
who you got? Who you got Sunday night?
Oh, Sunday night.
Minnesota or Detroit?
I'm gonna say Detroit.
I'm going Minnesota, and I'm
Oh yeah.
pulling for. I'm pulling for Detroit. I want to see Frankie
Yeah.
and Skipper get theirs, and
Josh
yeah,
Bates,
yeah.
the kicker. Yeah.
My money is going. If I had to bet my money, um, here's the thing: is what they're talking about on Sports Center. Because Sam Darnold's going to throw you one.
Yeah.
He's going to throw you at least one.
Yeah.
If I catch him.
Yeah.
So he's gonna throw you one. But man, I feel good for Jared Goff. I feel good for Sam Darnold.
Yeah.
Two guys that have paid their dues. Their dues have been paid.
Yeah.
Um, so and
For sure.
one of them is going to be able to go stay at home the entire playoffs. Now, Detroit is undefeated on the road this year.
Yeah.
Their only two losses were at home to Baker Mayfield and the Buccaneers and Josh Allen
Yeah.
and the Buffalo Bills.
Those are two pretty good teams, though. So
two pretty good teams, two playoff teams.
Yeah.
So, but you're saying that right now you've got Kansas City.
Man, yeah. Clint, the other day in the game, if I think I heard this stat right. If I heard it wrong, I may be wrong. Okay. But Patrick Mahomes got the ball out in under 3 seconds on average in the last game they played. Now, that's a guy that sometimes runs around back there like Brett Favre used to. So there's sometimes he's running around for 4, 5, 6 seconds. Okay. So that he's averaging getting the ball out under 3 seconds. That's good, man. That's really good. And that shows he's on point. He's on point with offense. He's on point with his receivers. I mean, he's not putting up stats. Look, I had him in every one of my fantasy leagues this year. I went high draft pick on him. Picked him second pick in every league I was in.
Yeah.
I'm in 4 leagues. Okay. And he didn't carry me like he has in the past because his stats hadn't been as good. Okay. However, he's still winning games and he's still leading his team well. Their receivers are getting healthier right now. They've gotten some guys back and stuff like that. They got Hollywood back and some other guys. They got some other guys that are hurt too, but still, and I think they're motivated to win that third one, man. And I think,
See, I don't want them to, but I'm not betting against them.
yeah,
because sometimes you get caught up in rooting for the underdog, and then you realize why the favorite was the favorite.
yeah.
And
I feel about them like I did. Like I never hated the Patriots. I never did necessarily want them to win that much. But I respected what they did and how they did it.
Yeah.
You know. And then I've always had kind of a special place in my heart for Belichick because he coached at the Browns, and I thought he got a raw deal there.
It seems to be an ongoing theme with with the guys knowing what they're doing, being kicked out the door.
Yeah.
For the but I mean at the end of the day, you got to be able to listen to your advisors and the people, and you got to listen to the right people.
Yeah.
One of the worst things you can do is pick the wrong mentor.
Yeah.
So anyway,
now, Clint, last thing,
yeah,
we need to get off here. We're going. Well, I can't remember what time we started, but anyway,
I can't either.
What you watching?
What am I watching? I started watching Squid Games, and the only reason I started watching Squid Games because I started watching the show called Beast Games on Paramount.
Yep.
And
have you ever watched Mr. Beast videos before?
Not if I can help it.
Okay.
No, I don't. I'm watching it, and I'm like, kind of like, yeah. Well, then I've started questioning what I'm doing in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
That entire deep dive. But yeah, I mean, of course, I'm ready. I'm ready to Monday Night Raw, jumping to Netflix.
Really?
So yeah. Raw on Netflix starts January 6th.
They're not going to be on a regular cable station anymore?
Nope. They are going to be streaming from Netflix. Apparently, it's a $5 billion deal.
Wow.
But if you look at what Netflix is doing with the Tyson Paul fight, they did a couple NFL games.
They did all Christmas Day, didn't they?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They had Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Netflix went out, and so they're investing heavily. I mean, it's getting to the point in life where like you're gonna have to have all these little streaming services instead of just TV. She's a changer.
Well, speaking of streaming services, I started and I've totally caught up now on Landman.
I have not watched a single episode, but I've heard good things.
It's really good.
I think what I'm going to wait till it's all the way out, and then I'm going to binge watch it.
That's the bad part is I'm ready for like next week's now, and I'm like, crap, man, I got to wait till next week. I mean, which a new one just dropped and I watched it yesterday, but, man, it's like I never got into Yellowstone, and Taylor Sheridan is in it, and I mean, well, he's a writer or whatever, creator, and
Yeah.
he created it for Billy Bob Thornton, and Billy Bob is perfect for his character. Like you believe he's really a old landman, like by far, like he's not even playing. But
Yeah.
uh,
I did finish No Good. I was looking it up because I watched. I did finish No Good Deed on Netflix. It's about a couple selling has Ray Romano, Lisa Kudrow in it, and
mm,
it was interesting. It was like when
yeah,
Bill started watching it, so I'm like, well, I've never started this one.
yeah.
I can't wait. I'm definitely going to be checking Landman now.
Well, I'll tell you one thing about it is the way it's shot and the feel of it is a lot like Friday Night Lights
Yeah, you know
in a way.
they
And of
did.
course, part of it is in West Texas. They film a scene at Permian High School, which is the basis of the book for
Right. Yeah.
for Friday Night Lights. I mean, for the real thing,
Yeah.
which is kind of cool because uh, Billy Bob was the coach in Friday Night
Yeah.
Lights, the movie. So,
This movie.
and
Yeah.
he was on the sideline at a game there, which is really cool. So, but no, it's really well done, well acted, some great actors in it. And by the way, there's a guy from Arkansas in it.
Oh,
If you've ever seen you ever seen Mud?
I've not seen it,
Matthew
but I've heard of
McConaughey.
it
Okay,
with Matthew McConaughey.
you need to watch Mud. It's a
Okay.
wonderful movie. But there's a kid in it. He plays the neck bone character. I forget the guy's real name, but he plays Billy Bob's son in this one, and uh he's from over by Mina, and like Mud was his first movie, and you get a was it Oscar winning movie for your first movie, which is pretty dang good. But I think it was his first movie. But anyway, he's in it and does a great job in this one. His character's not it gets to be more as the first few episodes he's not on it as much, but he gets to be on it as season goes on. But anyway, so there's two Arkansas guys that grew up in Arkansas in the show. So anyway, it's a good show. Well, folks, we didn't talk about basketball, but SEC starting
Opening up with number one Tennessee.
number one Saturday, man.
And I'm gonna tell you, there's not an easy game, including us. There's not an easy team in the SEC. It is a deep, loaded conference.
And that's what Cal said in his press conference after the game yesterday. He said, "Look, he said you could win 7 games, go 7-11 in the conference, and have 6 or 7 like high quality wins, and not even be 500 in conference. That's the
I
way
mean,
it's setting up."
yeah, Missouri and Vanderbilt both, I believe, aren't that great, but I mean, it is
Yeah,
loaded.
yeah.
Low. I mean, low. I mean,
They're
you're like,
saying it may be the best conference ever.
yeah.
Like there's people talking about it may be the most loaded conference.
There may be someone playing on day one that's good. That's an NCAA tournament team. I mean,
Remember when a few years ago we were complaining because because SEC was weak.
yeah,
We were wondering if we were going to get 2 or 3 teams in the tournament, and now they're talking we could get 12 or 13 in. And a lot of it is the schools went out and got good coaches. There's some great coaches in the SEC now. They're paying up. So
yeah.
anyway, so the Hogs look good against Oakland. Yeah, you wish they'd beat them worse, but hey, that's
About 30.
well. But some people are still,
Yeah,
there's people complain, right?
I think we're stupid.
Because we're not up by 30 at halftime. That's
I
what
get it.
people think,
Yeah.
But hey, they continued great effort, all that kind of stuff.
If
And
you got up, you're up by 30 by halftime, end up winning by 30. That people complain that he took his foot off the gas.
yeah,
That's how. I mean,
exactly.
just
Because fans are
yeah.
stupid.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one thing I really like seeing is our 3-point percentage is going up from what it was, several weeks ago. It's getting better. So we'll talk a lot more basketball as we get going here, especially as we get in the SEC. Folks, thanks for listening, watching, all that good stuff. We're on Spotify, Amazon, Apple, YouTube. Share, like, follow us on X, on Facebook, on Instagram, all those different places. Tell people about this podcast. Help us out in 2025. Make this even bigger. Okay, that's what we want. We want to grow. That's what we want to see. Okay, so we need your help, and hopefully you enjoy this. And Clint, Happy New Year, man.
Happy Travis, I'll see you next year.
See you.
I'm not
next
going to do
year.
another podcast to 2025.
Me neither. That's it. All right, folks. Thank you. God bless. Have a great New Year. Peace.
Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Sweat, work, filthy, dirt, harvest, hurt, kingdom come. Listen, that's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no harvest till I hurt. Crying your kingdom come. Listen, I wake up in the morning, I bow my head to pray. Mama told me if I don't, ain't nothing gonna change. These prayers breaking up hard ground so I can sow the seed. Ain't afraid of no aches and pain. Lord knows I gotta follow his lead. That's why I sweat when I work. My hands get filthy down in this dirt. Won't see no